teased me up perfectly, DT, to talk about Jamien Sherwood, who a year ago, he was a big-time signing by the Jets. They went out of their way. New regime came in, and the day before free agency started, they gave Jamien Sherwood a 3-year deal for $45 million. He was voted team MVP of the 2024 Jets. Think about what we thought about Jamien Sherwood at this time a year ago to where we are now. So he spoke for the first time the other day. And before I play you what Sherwood said to the media, this was AG being asked about Jamien Sherwood by Brian Costello.
We would probably be the first one to say he didn't have the season he wanted to last year.
Yep.
What have you seen from him this spring, and what are your expectations for him in year 2 with you?
Well, I would say this: it's always good when a player is self-aware, and it's always good when a player is his own toughest critic. And for him to say that, and for what I know about what we've talked about, for him to do the things that he's been doing this offseason to get himself into a position to where, listen, I want to be one of the top linebackers in the city. It's no different than what we just talked about with Mimbo. The way these dudes are going about their business in all 3 phases has been unbelievable for the most part. And listen, I'm going to support that player. I'm going to continue to help that player. Even when you have a down year, man, you try to look at the things that like, what can I do to pick myself up? And I think with DeMario being next to him, that's going to help him out a lot because he's still a young player. And he is a player that came from being a safety to being a linebacker. So having somebody that's been in this league for a long time as DeMario sitting right beside him, it could only help him. So any player that's self-aware and will critique themselves like that on a year-to-year basis is always good.
So do you think that DeMario Davis will, in fact, help Jamien Sherwood? What do you make of those comments there from Aaron Glenn?
Yeah, I definitely think the last 2 things that AG hit on there were true about Jamien Sherwood. One, having DeMario Davis, next to him is going to help him substantially because he's not relied on as, like the alpha in the linebacker room. He can play the 2 role next to DeMario Davis. So that'll definitely help him out. And the expectations should probably be a little bit lesser. And hopefully his production is much better than last year. And then the second thing that what was the last thing that he said? I'm already forgetting what the last thing that AG just said was.
Maybe talking about how he's a young player still.
Oh, yeah, transitioning from safety, right. So he was drafted, 2021? I was trying to remember what year it was. I think that was the first year of Saleh, right? Him and Hamza Nasruddin, both safeties, they tried to convert to linebacker. Hamza flamed out of the league. Jamien kind of stepped up and played well, at least in the Saleh scheme, a big downgrade last year. And that's where the training camp quotes come into it, right? Everybody's in the best shape. Everybody's like doing the best in all 3 phases, like he said there. So I take that part with a grain of salt, but I do think the scenario around Jamien Sherwood is a lot better with DeMario Davis in the fold. But I mean, we could talk about it, but the injury to DeMario Davis, if that happens, and I never wish that to happen, like now he's right back up as the number 1. So it does get a little dicey in the linebacker room, but Jamien Sherwood should have a bounce back year.
Look, he can't be any worse if we're being honest, right? Like the team was just a mess last year. Sure. They had no leadership. I think a big problem is Sherwood maybe wasn't ready to step into a huge leadership role. He got paid, new system. He's a young player. It's not for everyone. And I think the Jets had a lot of issues with their coaching on that side of the ball. They have a new linebacker coach, obviously a brand new scheme with Glenn taking over. I mean, no one really on defense had a good year last year, other than what? Like Jawan Briggs, maybe Harrison Phillips. Like, who played well on the Jet defense last year?
Literally just those 2 guys, and then there were some glimpses of maybe like Brandon Stevens, right? But other than that, you didn't really feel good about anybody else. And that's hopefully, the landscape on defense has drastically changed, starting with the coaching staff, getting in all guys that are familiar with the AG defense or the type of defense he wants to run, and then getting playmakers and veterans at all 3 levels, as well as some other depth signings along that defense. There's probably 10, maybe 11 new names, not new starters, but there's probably about 5, 6, upwards of maybe 7 starters, depending on how they use some of their new guys. Like if Nashawn Wright wins the cornerback 2 job over AZ Thomas, I'm not surprised. So I think they've done a good job adding to the defense, and it should look drastically different and hopefully regress to the mean of like slightly above average for a league NFL defense.
So Sherwood spoke for the first time, and if you're watching live, hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. open phone lines. We're going to take plenty of calls. Make sure you get in the raffle as well. Your choice, Knick fans. Either you get the commemorative ticket and playoff towel, or you can pick a Jets jersey of the player of your choice. That will be at the end of this show. But Sherwood speaking for the first time, DT, I was curious to see what his attitude would be like, what he would say about last year. And I give him credit. I think he came across really well. Let's listen in to Jamien Sherwood, who spoke for the first time since last season yesterday.
What is your just kind of mindset heading in the 2026 season after last year?
Obviously, for myself to be better than I was last year, grow in a bunch of different areas, become a better teammate for all our new guys, showing them around, especially since I'm going into year 6. Finally feel like I have a great understanding about what's going on. And again, just to be a better player for my team.
What areas do you feel like you need to improve on heading into this year?
As far as on the field, mainly pass coverage. Pretty decent tackler, but can always improve my tackling. Mainly those 2 areas.
When you sat down at the end of the season, Jamie, and kind of looked at the year, how did you kind of evaluate the way you played in 2021?
Wasn't the best. Obviously, I felt like I just said, there were areas where I need to improve. There were some good plays, there were some bad plays. I just felt for myself, I definitely can be more consistent than I was. So again, that's another thing that I do look for going into the season. That's just studying more, staying after practice more, and again, just being a better teammate.
Do you think you put any pressure on yourself after getting the contract? CJ's no longer here. You're kind of the man in the middle. Do you think you did anything to yourself mentally last year like that?
No, I wouldn't say I put pressure on myself. I always strive to be the best that I can be. Just in certain instances, I might have lacked focus, lacked detail on a certain play. I did get myself in trouble a few times with my eyes. So again, just being more consistent in those areas.
What's it been like having DeMario become one of your teammates and having a veteran like that to lean on?
It's been great. I'll say the only thing I could say from last year, we were a pretty young team. So when there were times where I felt like I did need someone to lean on or felt like I needed a little bit more knowledge of something, I feel like for the last few weeks of OTAs and the offseason, he's been there. And I'll say you can feel his presence, and it's beneficial for everybody on the team, not just myself. It's beneficial for our coaches, having a guy like him.
Do you see similarities between him and CJ Mosley?
There are some, but I feel like they're 2 different people. When I met CJ for the first time and when I met DeMario for the first time, they both were in 2 different areas of their careers. So again, I learned stuff from CJ and I've learned stuff from DeMario. But again, it's a blessing just to be able to play amongst both of them.
What is it like, the transition on defense with AG now calling in plays?
It's always been fun, just getting the chance to play football, but the emphasis this year, is details. So again, that's why I want to focus on that this year. But he's very adamant on what he wants this year, and I feel like the practices that we sprung together, you could tell that we've been listening to him and we've been trying to get the job done.
Just kind of your thoughts on just some of the additions that you made, like Sweat, obviously, Mika Fitzpatrick too as well, just what they can add to your defense.
Obviously, everybody knows who Mika is and what he's done in his career, college, NFL. So again, just having that leadership from him as well is, again, beneficial for all our young guys on the back end. His voice on the defense is just very comforting as well. I play in front of him. Even the guys on the D-line hear him. So again, he's a great addition to have for our defense. Sweat, he's a big guy. So just again, having him on the D-line, along with all the other guys on the D-line, I feel like everything that we've put into the offseason this year is going to come together this year for us.
When you talk about having bad eyes, how do you train that differently? But how do you kind of fix that?
Attention to detail. When you line up, you read your keys, down the distance, the formation, when they do break the huddle, just putting your eyes in the right spot. So if I'm in man coverage, just keeping my eyes on my guy the whole down. Don't get wandering eyes, don't look back at the quarterback. What's going over there has nothing to do with me. Just locking in on what I have to do.
Did you ever study Minka when you were a safety at Auburn? I mean, he was probably just finished at Alabama, right? Now you're not allowed to look at Alabama guy?
Obviously, you know, you see his highlights and, like, you know, he's all over social media and stuff like that. So I've obviously came across it. But I will say I did start looking at him because right when I entered the draft, one of my teammates were training with him down in Florida, and, you know, he invited me to the session, and, you know, I got a chance to meet him, his father and stuff. So just to watch his work ethic and those few times that I get to train with him, you know, I looked up some of his tape, and like I said, you know, future Hall of Famer. I feel like he obviously did what he did in college. So like I mentioned earlier, you know, he's a great addition for our defense.
DeMario is 37, still going strong. He never misses a game as a linebacker. Like, how, at that position, how hard is that?
Well, I haven't been in those shoes yet to say how hard it is, but it's very inspiring. Since he stepped on the field out here, you know, like I said, he's been tremendous for all of us. He's spread his wisdom, his knowledge, his leadership. You know, he's a big Bible guy, so, you know, he prays a lot. You know, he's big in the Bible study room with all the guys. So again, just having his presence for our team, you know, is big for us. For me and my stage right now, for the rookies, for the guys on year 2, year 3, you know, like I said, like, you can just lean on him, ask him whatever you want. He will take the time to speak to you, take the time to pray with you. So again, you know, his presence in the locker room is big for us.
They better not lose Demario Davis to any injury. I mean, any player that has spoken about Demario Davis's impact already, it just speaks volumes of how bereft of leadership they were a year ago. They need Demario to stay healthy for at least this year, even at age 37.
Yeah, and like you said, health better be with Demario Davis because he will be somebody that Jamien Sherwood can lean on and find that. And it sounded like in part of that answer there, or one of his answers, it looked like at times last year he was looking around for that guy and he just couldn't find him on the defense, especially because, like he said, he's going into his 6th year. He was the oldest one in that linebacker room outside of Quincy Williams, but even Quincy Williams has had a weird, career arc in the NFL. So, like,
and we knew he was a free agent and was not going to be back. So, like, Quincy didn't give a damn about the Jets by the end of it.
Well, yeah, and then once they traded Quinnen, I'm sure
Yeah.
Quincy was very over trying to do anything outside of his exact role every week. And maybe that's a little harsh on Quincy, but, you get the point. But now he has guys that can look around and say, hey, like, what do I do in this situation against this coverage? How do you want me to play this based on the front that we're running? So all those things are going to help Jamien Sherwood. And I liked a lot of his answers there. Talking about consistency and pass coverage are the 2 areas that he wants to improve upon, because he mentioned his eye discipline was bad. And I keep going back to those Miami Dolphins matchups, and he was just getting abused, him and Quincy, in the second layer of the defense. They just couldn't handle a play action to save their lives. So eye discipline was a huge thing that he called himself out on. It seems like he's really trying to correct the mistakes of last year, because let's be honest, it can't get much worse. And then I thought it was really funny that I think it was Kaz asked him about watching Minkah Fitzpatrick on film, and he's like, nah, I didn't watch him. Like, it's an Auburn guy. He's not going to watch an Alabama guy on film and, like, do all that, especially like in real time when they're both coming out of college. So I thought that was some pretty good answers by Jamie. And obviously the only thing that matters is the play on the field. But like I said, the situation for him to succeed is better and set up in a better position. Even going from Aaron Curry to Ben Bowling, I think that's had a huge positive ripple throughout the players on the defensive side of the ball. So it's all there for him to take it. And hopefully he lives up to that contract, or else maybe next year they're cutting him to save whatever money they can get on that 3rd year of that deal.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Derek, the Kansas Jet fan, our second entry into the Asmaniac raffle for the Knicks prize of glory, the Knicks prize of greatness.
That was 53 years of pent-up frustration to now be 1 win away from basketball immortality. There is not a fan base in professional sports, in all the sports, that deserved a win like that than the New York Knicks fan.
Hell yeah, Derek, thank you very much. You're in for 1. What do you expect overall from the defense? I talked about this on our collective show earlier. Like, can the Jets go from 31st or 32nd defensively like they were last year to top 15? Is that too much? What do you think the Jet defense can be in like a best case scenario, worst case, and then like the most likely scenario?
Worst case scenario, they don't even get out of the bottom 3 to 5 of the league, and they just kind of repeat a lot of the same mistakes that they did last year. I think the worst case scenario with the Jets is always easy because it means the bottom absolutely falling out and nothing being productive. The high end mark would probably be anywhere from like the 9th to 15th best defense in the league, so slightly above league average to fringe top 10. I think if everything hits, DeMario's healthy, Minka is playing his role and becomes a Pro Bowler again, it's pretty ironic. Every year he's not finishing the season with the Miami Dolphins. He's either a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. So hopefully that trend continues with him to New York. So if all those guys hit, you're probably looking at like a top 12-ish defense. So that means that the middle ground and what I expect is somewhere between 16 and 19, which is kind of a smaller range, but I think average to slightly below league average is fine. There's going to be games where they look good, and then there's going to be games where they probably get beat up on a little bit. Maybe that's because the offense can't get going. They're constantly on the field like we saw last year. So I would say that there's a wide range of outcomes because of how much new is on this defense, especially with the coaching staff. What is there, like 9 different coaches on the offensive staff alone? So it's going to be a wide range of outcomes, with average being like the expectation from me.
God, when you talked about like the bottom just falling out, we've seen that so many times. Like, oh, we think it could be this, or more likely to be this, and then it always ends up being the doomsday scenario.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom clearly
like
fell out
last year. Was the doomsday scenario.
Yeah, nobody, I mean, as much as we all were calling for Brady Cook, we didn't want to be calling for Brady Cook. And then when we finally saw Brady Cook, we knew exactly why they didn't go to him sooner.
He was at the Knicks game last night, Brady Cook.
Maybe his most accurate pass, allegedly, throwing an egg at Wembanyama.
Well, my buddy Nick texted me this after the show. Let's be real. If Brady Cook was throwing an egg at Wembanyama, he wouldn't have hit him.
It's probably fair. And it's not like it's Brady Cook's fault. Like, the circumstances last year were disastrous. He should have never been starting for a whole month of the season. So yeah, that is the bottom falling out. And that's, we've seen it happen already. So that's the easiest one for fans to go back to. But I do think it's going to be better than what we saw last year by a couple tiers. It's not just going to be a small step up. I think it's going to be a couple sizable steps up.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throwing some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Prison Mike is up next today. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys. Jake, you're alive again, huh?
We're alive. We're on fumes, but we are alive, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, my God. But what you just said, Wemby, I mean, my God, what he got called for flagrant last night was not even close to what happened the night before.
Oh,
and they wouldn't overturn it. It makes no sense. It just shows you that the league is just protecting him, and how they award him greatness at 22 years old. He hasn't won anything. He hasn't done anything. It's just ridiculous. It's just, it's, and it's funny. I mean, you just watched him last night. He just acted like a punk, just, pumping to his head and what have you. It just, I got to tell you, I couldn't even believe what I was watching. That had to be the worst coaching on San Antonio I've ever seen in my life. I mean, my God, they're taking threes in the second half with double-digit left on the shot clock, and they're up 30.
Yeah, that was brutal. I think that was awful. I think Kenny Atkinson in game 1 of the conference finals, when the Knicks had the 22-point comeback with 7 minutes to go, was egregious as well, not using the timeouts. Look, if you're going to come back down 29, I said this morning, you need the other team to make a ton of mistakes as well. It's the only way it can happen, because if the other team doesn't make mistakes, there's not enough time left in a game to come back down 29 points.
Well, and I'm tired of hearing people say that the Spurs blew it, that we didn't win it.
Oh, no, the Knicks won it, but you gotta create your own luck along the way. Just like the Pats needed a gift in their 28-3 comeback. It's all part of it.
It takes both teams, for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, Dylan, you're going on the 11th, right? To the beach club?
I don't know. I have a lot of things up in the air with work.
Whoa.
And I
wasn't your name on the little thing there?
No, I think I'm part of the and other guests who might appear section of that advertisement. Right. I don't think I was officially on the list, but
and also in the promo it says guest subject to change.
Oh, okay. So then it had nothing to do with
read the fine print.
Yeah. So it had nothing to do with Jake saying that all Jet content creators had to wear green Speedos with Jets in the front. That had nothing to do with it. That's why you're not coming.
No, that actually got me more hyped for it.
See?
All right. Because I also heard that there was going to be a contest. Whichever one of you guys made the Jets letters stretch more was going to win a prize.
Good thing.
That's just out there.
Short word, Prison Mike. Good thing Jets is a short word.
Oh, man. But hey, listen, I mean, we have to win Saturday. I mean, I don't want to take a chance of coming back home because, listen, the Spurs are still a good team. So, I mean, I said to you, Jake, the other day, I can't just talk Jets now. I just can't do it. I'm sorry.
It's impossible. I said this to Dylan off air. I go, having to talk about the greatest game I'll probably ever attend, one of the great games in the history of professional sports, to will Jamien Sherwood have a bounce back year is not easy.
No, that's all. I mean, here we are, right? We're in the end of June, and it's just tough. Now, maybe next week we can look at it and say, okay, and then we'll still be talking about the Knicks when they win. At least if you have Joe B on, he saw the last one. So it's not like I mean, I was 73, I was 11. So, but I just wanted to call in. I was up till 2 a.m. just redoing highlights and just going on YouTube.
Yeah, you can't go to bed after that game like that. Yeah,
no. Yeah, and my brother in California saying, "Are you up? Are you up? Are you still watching?" I said, "It's 8 o'clock by you. It's 11:30 here, and I'm trying to stay awake." So, but anyway, listen, good to see you guys, Dylan. Always a play. Every time you're on, I got to call in. Always got to call.
I love it. I appreciate it. Hey, you got me talking Knicks too, so like it's very contagious right now.
Well, now we have to get Joe Blewett on board, but I don't think that ever is going to happen.
Is he a Nets guy or something?
Oh yeah, Joe did text me a very nice message. So he goes, all-time hate watch for me, but happy for you. So
yeah,
I do appreciate Joe.
Yeah. I asked him the other day if he could just root. He goes, no way. I've taken too much shit from Knicks fans. I just can't do it, And listen, you know what? It's funny because, like, I always wonder. We live in an area where we have 9 pro sports teams, right? Mm-hmm. I would love to be in an area where, like, everyone roots for the same team. If you lose, you all lose together. I just don't know what that feels like.
And you don't really have it in South Carolina because the Panthers were a team in 95.
Yep.
So there's so many people who have been here longer than that like the Cowboys or the Steelers or, a 49ers, teams like that. So it would be really cool to just be in one area where everybody's just going nuts together.
Right. Because when your team lose, you got to take shit from the other team in the area, all the other fans. So, All right, listen, guys, have a good night. I'll talk to you next time.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.